Hey friends, welcome back again with a new episode of Spiritual Talks. I'm Kavita, and today again we have Pandurangam Narmeta sir. So friends, sir is Senior Pyramid Master and we got really tremendous response on his previous interview in BA Master and Bhagavad Gita. So today again we would love to elaborate Bhagavad Gita more with Pandurangam sir. Sir, welcome back. How are you
Thank you.
feeling after a month?
It's great, madam.
Yeah.
Very nice. First of all, I salute and I express my feeling of thankfulness to my Guruji, Brahmarshi Patriji. He is my role model for the whole of my spiritual life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will maximize, put my efforts to answer to your questions on Gita in the first chapter.
So, what is the significance of Gita?
Bhagavad Gita is not meant for any particular person or particular nation or particular creed or race. It is meant for humanity. Gita speaks to a mind that alert and thinking that has many conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
It is a book of wisdom. It is a book of an absolute truth. It is a great psychology book. One who has read Gita thoroughly, certainly he will become a good psychologist.
Absolutely. So, we have seen in serials or we have read in book the way Gita starts, right? But what is the reality? How Gita initiates?
To have continuous reading Gita regularly, it helps us to ascend spiritually. It helps us to live righteously.
So, sir, what is the first sloka and what we should learn from there?
Gita starts the voice of Dhritarashtra,
Okay.
the king of Kurus.
Mm-hmm.
He was eager and enthusiastic to know what was happening in the battlefield. It is very far.
Right. Yeah.
From his minister, through his minister Sanjaya,
Mm-hmm.
he wants to know what his sons and his brother's sons doing there.
So Sanjay has the third eye to see the entire battlefield, right?
I feel it is not the third eye. He has psychic power.
Okay.
Has some psychic power.
Okay.
Through his psychic power, he can see what was happening in the very far.
Okay.
What were Kauravas and what were Pandavas doing? It is easy for him to see.
Okay.
It is. I feel that it is his psychic power.
Okay.
He was explaining
Right.
his king what was happening there.
For us also, while sitting in meditation, we can see a lot of things, and if we cross check with the person or that situation, we come to know that it's a truth which we see in meditation, right? So, is it a psychic power or it's a third eye? What do you feel?
I feel that he has psychic power.
Okay.
It was given by Vedavas
Mm-hmm.
only for a limited period.
Okay.
That he got it from Vedavyasa.
How and what was the mindset of Duryodhana in battlefield?
The war was about to begin. Duryodhana came to his teacher Dronacharya.
Okay.
He has listed out
Mm-hmm.
the key prominent personalities in both armies.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke about the great warriors of opponent army, and also he spoke about his own army. He spoke about the warriors in Kuru's army greatly.
Mm-hmm.
He did not lower the opponent army.
Okay. So.
And according to Duryodhana, his army was immense
Mm-hmm.
in comparison with the Pandavas' army. Bhishma was the savior of his army, and Bhima was the savior of Pandavas' army.
Okay.
He has spoken to his guru Dronacharya.
I want to understand whether was Duryodhana was going through some inferiority complex in that battlefield.
No. He is not in the state of inferiority complex. He did not lower the opponent army.
Okay.
He spoke about the opponent army greatly. He also spoke about his own army in a wonderful manner.
Mm-hmm.
He did not lower the opponent army. So he is not suffering from inferiority complex.
Okay. So it was not even superiority complex.
No.
Next, what does Duryodhana think of Arjun, Bhima, and Lord Krishna?
At first, when the war was about to begin,
Mm-hmm.
he was very confident of winning the war. He does think of Bhima, that he can resist Bhima, as he knows Bhima since his childhood.
Okay.
Bhima is strong, physically strong, but not intellect.
Right.
Physically strong people generally desire for war. He doubted the character of Arjuna.
Mm-hmm.
He is in dual mind. He is in duality.
Right.
He may not fight. He may leave the battle at any moment.
So he was not that strong mentally, I guess.
Yes. Those intellectuals do doubt.
Right.
Where there is doubt, there is duality.
Right.
Duality leads imbalanced and confused state.
Okay.
He is unaware of Krishna and his strategy. He does not think of Krishna
Right.
and his supremacy.
Right. Yeah.
He believes that Krishna does not fight at all.
Mm.
This is his expectation and his estimation and his thinking at the beginning of the war.
Mm-hmm.
But end result is different.
Right. Right.
Okay. He has lost his battle in the end due to the third force in the form of Sri Krishna.
What Duryodhana think of Arjuna and Krishna?
Duryodhana does think of Sri Krishna that he does not fight at all.
Right. Okay.
He doubted the character of Arjuna. He may leave the battle or he may not fight at all. He is in duality.
Okay.
Arjuna is in duality.
Okay. So as you said about the third force, what is the impact of third force in the war?
First, we have to understand what life is. Life is a flow like a river. We cannot expect when it takes turns and falls down. Life is not a journey on highway road. First, we have to understand it. We can expect what happens next moment when it is a journey on highway road. Certain rules will guide us. We can expect when whether it takes right side or a left side, or it goes straight or it goes speed. We can expect easily when it is a journey on highway road. Our life is what we cannot expect. Our life is not what we expect. This we have to understand it first. In every human's life, everything what we see at first will be different in the end. This happened in Duryodhana's case.
Okay.
At first, he was very confident of winning the war. He was unaware of the third force in the form of Sri Krishna. He said that Bhima was the savior of Pandava's army. In fact, Arjuna is the savior of Pandava's army because the God is within. Lord Hanuman is within on the top of his chariot in the form of flag.
Right. Yeah.
So it is easily we perceive that the savior of the whole Pandavas army is Arjuna.
Arjuna.
But what he expected in the beginning, what he estimated, what his thinking will be different in the end. This we know from the few slokas of Bhagavad Gita. Duryodhana does not imagine when the third force interferes and how does its duty. Only spiritual enlightened person can know this.
So was there any other interference of third force in the entire battle?
We can see the impact of the third force in the words of Sri Krishna in motivating Arjuna to fight in the war.
Right. Right.
Okay, and we can see the impact of third force through his off-screen strategic actions in guiding the entire army. When it goes against dharma, when it goes against laws of universe, third force interferes.
So in the beginning, as Sri Krishna said, he will not use any shastra
Weapon.
Yeah, but later.
Only once he used weapon, but he did not kill anyone.
Okay.
Just he showed his heroism. Just heroic quality has shown only, but he did not kill anyone.
Okay.
He showed his off-screen strategic actions.
what should we learn from the beginning of few shlokas?
Dhritarashtra is the root cause of Kurukshetra war. His lack of proper parenting has led war. He has given much lenience to Duryodhana. As a result, he became evil-minded. So here we come across many news as youth addict to drugs, consuming alcohol, they addict to smoking, they commit crimes. This is happening due to lack of spiritual parenting. Children should be grown up with values and morals. Lack of spiritual parenting, Duryodhana has become evil-minded. So Dhritarashtra is the root cause of Kurukshetra war. We should grow our children up with values and morals. Spiritual parenting is desperately needed for the society nowadays.
So, which qualities should parents have for this spiritual parenting?
They teach their children with values and morals. Certainly, children grow up spiritually.
So, yes, definitely this spiritual parenting is most needed for today's world as well. So, could you please give any example of third force?
Yes, ma'am, sure. Once Gandhari was asking Duryodhana to appear before her without clothes on his physical body.
Right.
It means to be nude, in order to crystallize the whole physical body
Right.
or shield.
Right.
It is against law of universe.
Mm.
It is against dharma.
Right.
At the time, third force interface in the form of Sri Krishna and breaks it.
Yes.
Laws of universe drive our lives. Divine proposes, man disposes. This we have to understand.
So, what is this exactly?
So, what drive human lives here? We have to understand. Laws of universe drive human lives.
Okay.
So here, to be the whole physical body to be crystallized or to be shielded, it is against dharma. It is against law of nature.
Right. Yeah.
When there is a problem for dharma, third force interface. There are many examples, so many examples. This is a perfect example.
Yes.
Only except thighs, his body was shielded. Duryodhana's body was shielded with energy. Gandhari accumulated some energy in her eyes, which transmitting by unfolding, she transmitted the energy to Duryodhana. Duryodhana's body was crystallized except his thighs.
Right.
He lost his life by Bhima. Bhima killed Duryodhana
Right.
by breaking his thighs.
Right. This is very true when something goes against nature, Mother Nature, or the supreme power, the final energy, whatever it takes care of things. That is very true. Here, sir, I want to know more about Arjun's perception. In the beginning, he said he didn't want to fight,
Yes.
right? So he gave a lot of excuses also that his own people are there against
Yes.
against
Yes.
him. So what was that, and why did he behave like that?
The war was about to begin.
Yes.
All the warriors on both sides have blown their conches. Krishna has blown his conch Panchajanyam.
Mm-hmm.
Arjuna has blown his conch Devadattam.
Mm-hmm.
The war was about to begin. Arjuna asked Krishna to take him to in the middle of the battle
Okay.
to have a glance the opponent army.
Okay.
Krishna took Arjuna in the middle of the battle. On seeing the Kuru warriors, Arjuna became emotional and sentimental. On seeing his relatives, his grandfathers, his teacher, Dronacharya, and his grandfather Bhishma, his brothers, his relatives, his friends, and his well wishers. he finds himself in the deep sea of attachment, grief, and delusion.
Right.
He spoke to Krishna that he was unwilling to fight. He said that if all die, the race will get spoiled, the color gets spoiled, all women will get widows, will become widows. If soldiers dies, their wives will become widows. Who will do sacrificial offerings to the dead people? He said to Krishna.
Okay.
So he wanted to quit the war. If he kills all Kuru warriors, he may commit sin. He may become a sinner. Instead of fighting, he wished to beg. He said that he would be ready to be killed by opponent army. This was his mental status of Arjuna.
So he was ready to die, but he was not ready to kill
The opponent army.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
the warriors in the opponent army.
So are these reasons are genuine?
No, these are not genuine reasons. He kept something inside and he was exhibiting the other outside.
What was his exact condition? He was maybe suffering something else, he was suppressing something else, and he was telling something else. Is that?
He was in the state of nostalgia, infatuation, or delusion, means vamoham. He is in pride that he is able to kill. It is easily can be perceived from the smile of Sri Krishna after Arjuna's telling Krishna these cunning reasons or false reasons. He showed his false compassion. He wanted to fight, innerly wanted to fight. Yes, Arjuna innerly wanted to fight. He wanted to conquer the kingdom. He's a great warrior, undoubtedly.
Yes.
He's a great archer. This is his inner view. How can I say this from the smile of Krishna? Krishna remains simply smiling. Krishna smiled at Arjuna on hearing these reasons. That's why it is easily we can perceive what innerly he kept. Arjuna kept. Arjuna said that he was surrounded with bad omens.
So what is that? I mean, surrounding by
Bad omens.
Okay.
He was facing unfortunate things.
Okay.
He feels that he may commit sin. He is a Kshatriya. He has to do his own dharma. He used logic to justify quitting the body. Krishna understood well what Arjuna kept inside and what Arjuna was exhibiting the other outside.
Right. What does Krishna suggested at that time?
Krishna remained silent. At first, on hearing the reasons, he remained silent and smiled at Arjuna. From the smile of Krishna, we can understand that these are cunning reasons, false reasons. Arjuna was showing. Of course, he became emotional, he became sentimental, no doubt. And he said that there is no use of victory, there is no desire for empire. He was not going for materialistic pleasures after winning the war. He spoke, but this is not genuine. Arjuna does not interest to disclose at first. He kept something inside and exhibited the other outside.
So what was the Arjuna's mental and physical attitude by seeing this Kuru army?
On seeing Kuru warriors, there are 9 signs of his mental and physical attitude. The first, his limbs were weakening.
Okay.
Secondly, his mouth was drying. And after that, his skin was as if it was on fire.
Oh.
It was getting goosebumps. He was unable to stand. His body was shivering. His Gondiva, means a bow, was slipping from his hands.
Okay.
He was feeling dizziness. His mind was spinning. These 9 signs he has shown mentally and physically on seeing the Kuru warriors. in the opponent army.
So was Krishna encouraging this war?
No, Krishna does not encourage war. He was not wanting war. He was not encouraging war. Perhaps he may allow Arjuna to leave the battle. He had the false reasons quitting the battle. He understood. He asked Arjuna to fight in the war because he is a Kshatriya. He has to do his own dharma.
Right.
According to Krishna, without our involvement, we can do nothing. First, we have to understand. Once we have decided to do something and then we hesitate to do the same, we think we can drop and go. Our emotions, our ideas, our opinions will take over and does not allow us to function. That's why Krishna asked or insisted Arjuna to fight in the war. You have to do your dharma. He insisted Arjuna.
So once we take any decision, we should not run away from there.
Yes, once we are on the board, we should not give up.
Yes.
This we learn from Bhagavad Gita in the first chapter.
There is definitely free will. Whether we choose this, if we choose this, we have to stay with it.
For the last 13 years, Arjuna himself prepared for the war.
Yes.
He was waiting for the war. He prayed to Lord Shiva to gain Pashpatasram.
Yes.
He got Astras, Shastras. He knows there will be a war after 13 years period of his Aranyavasam.
So here I want to understand, does Arjuna is really non-violent and compassionate?
No, Arjuna is violent. Arjuna is not compassionate at all.
Okay.
He was being trained to be violent in the war.
Okay.
Since his childhood. He fought many wars. Right. He fought against Drupada. He slaughtered the soldiers in the army. He was being trained to be violent in the war. That we know it, we come to know it. He is a non-violent, he is not a compassionate. Okay. He is a Kshatriya, he has to do his own dharma. Arjuna was not new to war and Arjuna was not new to violence.
Okay.
This we have to understand.
Okay.
He was not new to war, not new to violence.
Someone's nature doesn't change. Whatever he was taught from the childhood, he was the same person. So here he was not compassionate or non-violent.
I have spoken what he kept inside, yes. His inner view.
Yes.
And he exhibited the other and he kept something inside.
Right.
It was clearly understood by Krishna. That's why he smiled at Arjuna. He smiled at Arjuna. I think it started in the 10th sloka of 2nd chapter.
Okay. So as you said about shlokas, what are the main teachings from 1st chapter?
Problems are within us. Problem is common. We have to find the root cause of it.
Right.
Quitting is the default response of ego. In his speech to Krishna, Arjuna used logic, fate, destiny, quitting the battle.
Right.
We also do the same. Okay. We also quit to ourselves by using logic. Unless we know who we are, what divine is, what our connection to the divine is, what the birth and death is, what law of creation is, what law of karma is, where we shall go after death, and where we were before the birth, we will never be completely to resolve our material, mental, and spiritual conflicts. This is the basic teaching of 1st chapter in Bhagavad Gita. Spiritual conflict is a confusing state of identity.
What are the main root causes for sorrow and suffering?
The root cause of sorrow and suffering is man is unable to deal with the conflict. This could be the main reason why Gita was taught to Arjuna in the middle of the battle. Conflict is everywhere. We have to handle it wisely. The sooner we recognize the universal truth about the conflict and its impact, the sooner we can progress in our personal, in our professional, and ultimately in our spiritual journey.
Right. So one should be aware enough always.
First, we know the universal truth about the conflict and its impact.
How one can raise their consciousness or awareness regarding these things?
Through meditation, through reading spiritual books written by great spiritual masters, we can
As
evolve spiritually. We can come to know what a creation is, what law of karma is.
everyone faces such conflicts, right? So which kind of category faces more such kind of conflicts in their day-to-day life?
Generally, people categorically experience conflicts at three levels.
Mm-hmm.
One is material conflicts, second, mental conflicts, third is spiritual conflicts. Material conflict is the conflict of disagreement.
Okay.
Here, selfish and desire takes charge. It is a disagreement with friends, relatives, neighbors, with children, with boss, with wife and husband. Okay, this is material conflict. In mental conflict, here ego rules, ego governs. It is the conflict of duality. Where there is doubt, there is duality, and stress, anxiety, fear, doubt are under mental conflict. Can you know what exactly ego means? Recognizing one's own self importance, at the same time ignoring other self importance, is ego.
Right.
Ego governs here in mental conflict. Third one is spiritual conflict. It is the conflict of confusion of identity. Spiritual conflict is the confusion of identity. Who we are, what divine is, what our connection to the divine is, what the creation is, what is birth and death. I'm telling about the spiritual conflict.
Spiritual conflict. Yeah.
I have spoken to you about material conflict as well as mental conflict. Now I'm telling you about spiritual conflict. Unless we know what creation is, what divine is, who we are, and what our connection to the divine, we will never be completely to resolve mental, material, and spiritual conflict.
It's really beautiful to know different aspects of Bhagavad Gita, because we all have different perspective and different understanding. So could you please recap the entire session point wise?
The first point, spiritual parenting is desperately needed for the society nowadays.
Right. Yeah.
Second point, life is a flow like a river. We will not swim it, we float on it. Once we are on the board, never give up. Weakness is death, strength is life.
Yes.
Okay? Under any circumstances, we never lose heart, we never feel disheartened. We should leave our ego and understand the divine plan, the third force. To conclude the session, the greatest spiritual motivation is nothing is permanent in the world, everything is temporary. That we have to understand. Problems will be light before us when we understand this spiritual motivation truth. Here, what is form and what is formless,
Mm.
how it exists in our day to day life, this we have to understand.
An example of this form and formless.
Arjuna always talks about form, Krishna always talks about formless.
Right.
To have gone through the entire Gita, we find these two things.
So as you said about conflict, why does it arise in man?
Man is not authenticate to himself. As a result, conflict arises in man.
Okay.
He keeps something inside and exhibits the other outside.
Right.
This is the main reason why conflict arises in man.
So we should be truthful to ourselves.
Yes, this is called Trikarna Shuddhi or Satya Sandhata.
Right. You have expressed everything very beautifully. Here I want you to give a small message to our audience.
3 points, ma'am. I'll give you the message through this interview. The first one is uphold dharma, be dutiful, authenticate to yourself.
So friends, this is really a very beautiful message to be authentic to ourselves. we have to perform our duty always, and
uphold dharma.
yeah, and be with dharma always. So thank you, sir, for coming and for giving such a beautiful talk on Bhagavad Gita, which is ultimate truth of each and everyone's life. Whenever we get stuck in life, we can get each and every answer for our question. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. I'm also happy to answer the questions you ask in that manner.